Hello, friends. How are you? How's things? How's life? How's your world? How's your Tuesday? Mine is good. Um, well, it's not great. We've had the kid has been a bit of a terror over the last few days. She hasn't slept much at all in the last couple of days, and she's screaming, and we think something's wrong, but we're not sure what it is. She has her appointment tomorrow, so we'll find out hopefully. But it might just be a phase. But it kind of brings up a thought about middle-aged parenting or middle-aged newborn, having a newborn at middle age, because there's parts of this I didn't really consider, and that is that, on a normal time scale, my parents had me my dad was in his 30s, right? Yeah. He would have been 34 when I was born. My mom would have been 29, um, which is basically Malia's age, so uh, on that time scale, they had me. My dad retired when I was 22, and so they've just been kind of their sunset years for the last 24 years. Just kind of. I don't like that term, the sunset years. That implies like we're over, and it's not. It's not even close, right? There's so much more to do in your 60s and 70s. I don't know why sunset years is weird to me, but whatever. To me, the sunset years would be like the last couple years of your life, right? Not like your, whatever. Um, so you know, in a normal time scale, I had my oldest daughter at 25. She's turning 21 the next month. My youngest daughter, I had her at 29. Like my mom was when I was born. And so we the same kind of transition. Now, will I retire when my youngest uh, is 25 or 22? No, absolutely not. There's no way I'm going to be able to retire at, 50, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how old I would have been. Whatever. The point is, there's this normal transition of time from generation to generation. As my kids are now aged to the point where they can take care of themselves, my parents have aged to the point where they can't take care of themselves. And so there's this transition that goes from I take care of my kids until they can take care of themselves, and now I can help my parents more because they need more help. Um, but you throw a newborn into the mix at that age bracket, and suddenly, wait, now I have this infant who can't take care of herself, and I have aging parents who need help, and it's a lot. It's a lot. And I don't know that I talked about this much, but my dad fell last week badly, very badly. Um, Hit his head. He fell forward, thankfully not backwards, but fell forward enough. Did a lot of damage, and he's been in the hospital this past week. Yesterday he got transferred. He was in Morgantown Hospital, which is kind of impossible for me to get to because, after work it would take me an hour to get there, and it's only a half-hour drive normally, but because of traffic and that sort of stuff. So like being able to get up there, get back, feed my family, get sleep because the baby's not sleeping, uh, kind of impossible. But he got moved back to Fairmont, and he'll be at our hospital probably for at least a few weeks, maybe even a month or so or whatever. Just like last time, like he has to kind of do some more PT and rehab, and he's struggling. It's a struggle, and it's very very difficult for me right now, and not in any kind of bad way. Like I'm not stressed out about it, and I'm not pushing back against it. It's just like I'm I'm recognizing that I didn't really consider the extra load. Like I knew that having an infant at any age is difficult, right? It was difficult at 29. It's difficult. It was difficult at 25. It's difficult at 46. Um, but on top of all the other things going on at this age, at my age, where my career is at a point now where, um, while I could pivot, it's highly unlikely. But if I wanted to pivot right now, there's no time for that, right? I have an infant. I have aging parents who need assistance. There's no way I could just go start college right now or whatever and pivot away from this career. So I'm kind of locked in. Totally fine with it. I love my job. Love the people that I work with. Have absolutely no problem working there for the next 20 something years and retiring. Um, but there's a lot of consideration of like yes, my kids got to a point. We've talked about this. I've hit that point, in February where my oldest has moved out. My middle child now has her driver's license, can take herself places, and now I am free-ish for a few months, and now I have an infant, right? And so there is that kind of like, that's a real abrupt start over, because now, even my kid getting her driver's license is part of like the kind of like empty nester freedom kind of thing, but also just her developing her own personality, her own friends, having things to do after school. Like there's a lot of times she wasn't here, or just the fact that we got my wife and I, or my ex and I, divorced 7 years ago, or 8 years ago. So just the fact that she wasn't here she was here every other week, so it was like, there's a lot of time in between. So having a newborn is a sudden abrupt, like, oh, you got to start, this is a hard start over. But having a newborn in the middle of having all the other things that are going on, it's tough. It's really, really tough. I think we're handling it as best we can, and I'm there for my parents as much as I can be, and I know they appreciate that, and they're trying very hard not to be needy, and I appreciate that. But the fact of the matter is, they're my parents, and I need to help them, and I also have an infant and a wife that needs help, and balancing all of that is something I didn't think about when it was time to have the baby. It was more or less just like, we're gonna have a baby, and it's gonna be fine. And for the most part, it is, and it'll be worth it. All of it will be worth it. I know that for a fact. But it is a consideration I didn't fully think through. Don't know if it would have changed anything. Like I don't think I'm not saying that I wouldn't have had the baby if I'd have thought about it. That's not the case. But anyway, kind of I guess a PSA. Just think about it. If you're gonna have kids in your middle years, think about all the other things that are going on and where a kid fits into that, because it's going to be a lot of work, and you got to be willing to do it, and you got to be willing to give up a whole lot of yourself. Right now, I'm clinging to music. That's been my one steadfast thing that I've been able to do these last couple of months, and I really want to continue doing it. Very, very much want to continue doing it. So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to that. Thank you for watching. Did you get anything out of it? Are any of you like fresh parents, fresh middle-aged parents? I never thought I'd be that guy. The statistical, got divorced in middle-aged, married a much younger woman, had a new family, whatever. Never thought I'd be that guy. Of course, I never thought I'd have a family to begin with, so I'm doing it over all, whatever. Let's go. It's good times. Good times. Enjoying the baby. Thank you for being here. Please like the video. Please leave a comment of something. I don't know what. Ask a question. Something you want to talk about this week. Something you want to talk about next week. Ask questions. Leave comments. Like videos. Please subscribe if you're new. We're still growing. Still trying to get to 25,000 again. Appreciate that. I'll see you tomorrow. Today's 1,000 plus little things happy, successful people do differently. We are learning 12 relationship truths we often forget. Number 7, forgiving others helps you. Forgive others, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. Free yourself of the burden of being an eternal victim. When you choose to forgive those who have hurt you, you take away their power over you. This is one of those things I had to hear to understand. If you refuse to forgive somebody, it's not hurting them. They don't care. It means nothing to them. You're not, you internally you think, if I'm not forgiving that person, I'm punishing them. You're not punishing them at all. You're only punishing yourself. Forgiveness just frees yourself from having to think about that, from letting that person live in your head. And forgiveness does not mean that you're now okay with that person. That's not the same thing either. You can forgive somebody and still disassociate from them. And in fact, that's probably the healthy thing to do if there's been something serious. Forgiveness is just freeing yourself from that burden, because you're not burdening them at all.